Democrats have had the opposite reaction to the Oval Office meeting. Democratic Senator Chris Murphy from Connecticut posted this. What just happened in the Oval Office was a planned ambush designed to help a brutal Russian dictator and hurt America's security. Trump has become Putin's lapdog, and America's global power is hemorrhaging as America sides with dictators over democracy. What an embarrassment. Do you think the confrontation in the Oval Office today was pre-planned, like Senator Murphy suggests?
I don't know.
You don't know? You think maybe?
I don't know. No. I don't. I mean, I don't know about it. I think no. I think it was just a really tough situation because we've been very open, very direct.
What set you off? What made you mad? Because they said your tenor and tone set that.
It's not about mad. It's not, Brad. You see, how to say, when you are in the United States, and for example, president or vice president or somebody or senators, doesn't matter, big politicians, yes, when they, for example, say that Ukraine is almost destroyed, that our soldiers run away, that they are not heroes, that Ukraine lost millions of civilians, that his president is dictator, you know? What is the reaction? It's not about me. The reaction is that where is our friendship between Ukraine and the United States? That's it. This is feeling, and that's why I do not want to lose our great partners at the United States. And I just said that it's not the first time.
Bro, I swear to God, Trump is such a fucking insane sociopath. He's gonna sell Ukraine to Russia.
And I said, please, be.
This is going to cause Trump to disband NATO in its entirety, I feel like.
Be correct with this number. When you say about the number,
Zelensky is far too good faith. He does not understand how selfish Americans are.
When you speak about
this is the craziest thing I've ever watched.
It's not just territory, it's houses. It's people's lives. You know, their fathers, mother, their relatives, grandfather, they died or during this war. Nobody wants to forgive Putin. It's not funny, you know, or fairy tale. This is real life. That's what I say. And when you said it, a lot of times to my big friends who've been here today in our dialogue, and then they again begin to repeat the same things. I think it's not. That's why I said it's not a good way between partners, good partners and friends. That's it. And I think that if journalists asking questions to president, with all respect to vice president, he has his interview.
This is shouldn't this dynamic, if you're going to be like this, be behind closed doors? Not.
Of course. And
so do you regret that? Are you regretting that happened today?
Regretting? Yes, I think it was not good. I think it was not good because we had a lot of different dialogues. I'm always open.
Isn't it
to
funny
media,
how they're basically saying exactly what I was saying?
Things. I just
Chatters,
want to be honest,
dickhead Chatters is saying you don't understand Eastern European politics.
Situation correctly. And
what did I say half a fucking hour ago or 2 hours ago?
That's about us.
What?
Not to lose our friendship.
A couple more things.
This kind of back and forth is supposed to happen behind closed doors, not in fucking broad daylight. These conversations are supposed to happen.
I think so. United States wanted this deal very much, and we've been not against this deal, but we wanted to understand what parts.
Trump is going to go crazy after this interview, by the way.
And what next steps. Just again to understand for our people. During the war, what you don't like, even sometimes hate, surprises. It's understandable. Many terrible things this war brought to us. So we don't want any surprises. Yes, that's why we want to be very fair with our partners. And I think this deal, it was prepared by teams. It was not simple during weeks. And now it's ready. I think that they have to sign. The countries have to sign. The ministers have to sign. That's it. I don't know when they will do it. It depends on the American side.
So
exactly.
The minerals deal did not have security guarantees listed in it.
It's a part.
The security guarantees?
This is the part in the infrastructure of security guarantees. Because, for example, President Trump said that I think so that if we will be there in some productions and etc. in mineral, that Putin will never come on this territory where we are. And I said to him, don't trust Putin. Why? I said, because it's not, we respect and we believe in strongness of the United States, but I said to him that we had more than 20 companies, American companies, big companies on the territory of Ukraine, and we had offices even on temporary occupied territories. For Putin, it doesn't matter. It's American, European company or Ukraine, it doesn't matter. He just came and occupied it. That's what I said. I think this is a great idea, how to strengthen Ukraine and how to make business between two countries, how to make additional jobs for two countries, but it's not just these will not save us.
I read what the Democratic senator said, that Trump has become Putin's lapdog. Do you agree with that President Trump is too close to Vladimir Putin in your mind?
Brett, shut up!
We spoke about it, and I think today very openly.
Stop baiting him!
He said that I want to be in the middle, otherwise I will not put these guys at the table.
And is he right?
I want to be very honest. I want really him to be
they're gonna nuke him,
more at our side. I will explain why. Because it's
Trump
not just that the war began somewhere between our countries. The war began when Russia brought this war to our country, and they are not right. And they are not right. They didn't respect our territorial integrity. They brought the war on our territory to our families. Sorry for repeating, to our houses. And they are not right. And of course, all the Ukrainians want to hear strong position of the United States on our side. From one side, it's understandable. From another side, he wants to find some way of dialogue with Putin. But he always said, as I remember, he always said that peace through strength. And that's why I think that he's strong, United States strong, two parties together. In this question, two parties always together against Russia. You're very strong to do strong steps against Putin.
Americans are worried about where the money...
Es tu problema, Zelensky.
Will there be a very...
No todo el mundo se va a pelear con Rusia porque vos estás peleado.
It seems like there is some question about whether there's corruption or sold military...
No. Zelensky viene a pedir plata con mis taxes.
Billions
con mis taxes.
During 3 years.
183 from the U.S.
Now, on the paper, in the documents, yes, but we have, in fact, because 67 came like a weapon. It came through the border. It's checked and it's fixed by everybody.
Le falta el respeto a América.
Shared it not once with the American side, and 31.5. It was direct financial support to the Belgian. Again,
America.
It's very open. It's digitalized. It's open, free, and please, if somebody wants to check it again, we are very, very open with this.
Last thing, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Do you think your relationship with Donald Trump, President Trump, after today, can be salvaged?
Can be? Yes, of course, because it's relations more than two presidents. It's the historical relations, strong relations between our people. And that's why I always began with to thank your people from our people. And this is the most important. And of course, thankful to President,
it's not a democracy!
But first of all, to your people.
Please,
your people
stop!
help to save our people. People. The first.
The people's wishes don't matter.
The first.
They're not on your side, Zelensky. MAGA is a cult. Don't say it.
I mean this. We wanted very much to have all these
He literally thinks he can reason with the American public. It's insane.
Mr. President, we're honored that you kept this interview. Thank you very much for that.
Lo van a matar a
Thank you
Zelensky.
so much. Thank you.
When we come back, we'll bring in our panel for analysis.
This was one of the most insane things I've ever seen. Okay? I think he legitimately thinks if he talks directly to the MAGA audience, okay, that they will listen to reason. They will not. Also,
They will not.
MAGA crowd in general are utterly irrelevant in this process. They're not relevant at all. Trump's own personal mania is the most relevant factor. I think ultimately it's defense contractors and where they go and what their interest is, but any sort of posturing against Donald Trump will do everything in his fucking power to undermine that deal. Especially after Zelensky actively said, no, I'm not apologizing. You are all brain dead. I think people don't understand my position here. Okay? People don't understand where I'm coming from. I'm not saying Zelensky is in the wrong, okay? I don't even think he disrespected or undermined Donald Trump this morning. What I'm simply stating is Trump is not normal. He is insane. He very clearly did an insane thing today. What the fuck? That's it. Do you have a Ryan Ruth apology form? First of all, I've been a #1 Ryan Ruth loyalist since day one, so I don't need to apologize for anything. If he says sorry, he would be toast among Ukrainians. They are embattled. Bro, I'm serious. It's just fuck. All right, I'm gonna talk to Brace Belden right now. Okay. Trump is gonna tweet out that I didn't hear sorry, or some shit like that. And then, oh my God, look at what they're fucking posting. This is the dumbest. We are in officially the dumbest stage of history. It is completely psychotic. All right, I'm calling Brace Belden to make sense of the senseless. Okay, that's right. The gay pussy eater, Racial Jake. You know him by many different names. I know him as journalist, and also sometimes as friend. He didn't like that last part. Brace Belden, ladies and gentlemen.
Merhaba, Hassan.
Wow.
Merhaba.
Mehmet came out real quick.
Just for the journalists out there, as of course some people here call them journalists out there, I'm visibly Semitic, and so any kind of criticism that you might be thinking during this, you gotta squash it now.
Yeah.
I've been circumcised more times than I can fucking count.
More times than Tony DeCoppel.
You don't think it's... Let me ask you, if I'm wondering, he's the richest man in the world. He's the second most powerful person in the United States, arguably the most powerful. He's got a ton of male sons. I think it's a fair question to ask if those sons are circumcised.
Ooh, interesting.
It's fair. I think it's fair, because it's just
the answer is yes.
Oh yeah.
Most likely. But Brace, thank you so much for coming on. Now, initially, I wanted to have you on because you are the resident liberal expert on a million different things, but most importantly, of course, Jeffrey Epstein, who is someone who tragically took his own life, as you know, on that fateful evening where the Manhattan Correctional Institute seemingly had its cameras go out for the 7.5 minute process where that deed took place, and the prison guards were also asleep, seemingly in that 7.5 minutes. It's just a freak accident after freak accident after freak accident, as you know. New York financier Jeffrey Epstein. Now, initially we were going to talk about that, but something else happened today. And it's something that you're also very knowledgeable on as a liberal journalist. It's the Zelensky stuff.
Volodymyr Zelensky, he got schlonged, Hassan. I mean, can you believe it? It was crazy.
I can.
Me too, but that was, so here's, I don't know, I just got home, so I've not, maybe you've talked about this at length. The J.D. Vance thing, it's a bit much, no? It's a bit much. Like Trump can do art of the deal.
Yeah.
But you get JD in there, and he's high on getting praise for going to Munich and like talking his shit.
Yeah.
And so he's trying to do a Munich too by being like, and another thing, you gotta fucking say thank you to Donald Trump.
Yeah. That was crazy. I mean, this is it. I'm showing it to you as well, what I'm looking at on screen. Have you said thank you once? He's so sick.
He's so sick.
He's so cool.
You hear that, Usha? Have you said thank you?
Yeah. Usha is quaking when she thinks about how much of an alpha dog, but also millennial coded JD Vance is.
I've been wondering, and I've for a long time I thought Huma Abedin was the most beautiful South Asian powerful woman in the world. And
I've heard you say this before. I don't disagree with you.
She is fucking. Watch that Wiener documentary. Pause. That she is looking gorgeous in that. Even Grace Under Fire. I would say that Grace Under Fire. Now she's with this dweeb Alex Soros, he looks like shit. George.
Whoa! Do not disrespect Alex Soros, who I follow on Instagram for many, many years, and he's also a funder of this broadcast. Thank you, Alex Soros. I gotta do an NPR hit, when they do a Facebook, a Facebook story, and then they're like, we must tell you that Facebook is a contributor to the broadcast. Alex Soros is a contributor to the broadcast. Very important. Tier 3 subscriber, constantly gifts, a lot of subscriptions. Thank you, Alex.
If you are watching, you need to open up the relationship and get me in there. You need to open that thing up. I gotta get in there.
Yeah.
I love Huma.
He's just jealous. He wants to be poly with you, Alex.
But I will say, I thought Huma was my number one. I was like, okay, wow. And then Usha comes along, and I'm like, JD, where have you been hiding her? Because she is gorgeous. And ugly. Let's be honest. I'm not good looking myself, so I'm not trying to be like, but he's kind of, there's something wrong with him,
Yeah.
Like it's not right. You know what I'm saying? It's not right. And I think that Usha, whatever the situation is, if you need to be freed or whatever, if you want to come with Huma, I can get you. But he should send this to her every time that she's mad at him for like working late, sucking down Trump's dick.
I think JD wanted to be closer to being a South Asian man, and that's why he wears more eyeliner than a Pashtun Taliban member.
Yeah, he does look like he is Trump's Bakabazi. He's his dancing boy, and it's horrible.
Well, he was Peter
to see.
Thiel. That's what he did for Peter Thiel. So
I know it's great. He does. He's got like the second in command, like the lieutenant thing going on. But I think that what he did, Zelensky and I have had our differences. But what I think he did was unconscionable.
Funny thing to say, sorry.
Just we have differences. I would have done things, but I felt a twinge of pity for Zelensky, and I vacillated because I felt pity for Zelensky when he first got in, because he was, he looked like he was going to be the peacemaker. I do think he tried. I think that nothing really could have. He was kind of getting it from both sides on that.
Oh yeah.
There was no way that was going to happen. And he kind of came into his own, but the reality is, I don't really know what the argument is against what Trump's saying, because, they don't have any cards. Ukraine is losing the war. They've been losing the war for a while. And it's sort of hard to, there hasn't been, especially from, all the Europeans who, really have stuck their necks out on this, or, I don't know, stuck their necks out is the word, but, the Europeans have stuck with Zelensky for the most part. And,
my favorite, not to cut you off, but my favorite was when Keir Starmer, also known as Keir Stalin, came out and was like, "Oh, we're gonna send our shorts-wearing, 14,000 strong special forces into Ukraine," and then very quickly, almost immediately after he said that, but without American security cooperation assurances, this will be meaningless. That was the extent. Even Macron, the Jupiterian figure, the real lord of Europe, even he has had he's been positively Polish in the way that he has talked about Ukraine. He behaves like he's, you know, a part of the Polish parliament or something, where he's always like, we're going to send the most military troops to Ukraine. And he's been saying it for months, like way before Keir Starmer ever came out and said things like that. So I don't know. I just don't see that being a real alternative if there is no more American security assurances coming down the line.
Yeah, I mean, what I thought was going to happen was that there was going to be some kind of like weird fucked up deal with the DMZ that's like manned by, you know, whatever Russian and allied troops on one side, and or a weird security agreement with like French troops or British troops there. Now, I'm not really so sure, because the thing is, like, the U.S. kind of, I mean, with Nord Stream and with a lot of pressure on the Germans, like, have really altered Europe's economy in a major way in the past 4 years. And this is just like a complete reversal. I mean, I honestly, today has been a crazy one, because I assumed there would be some hard bargaining, some, you know, tough words and maybe some tough love, but they just like, they schlonged him, and then he had to like basically run out of the White House. And I know he's been giving interviews. What has he been saying in them?
Wait, are you talking about Trump, or are you asking what Zelensky's been saying? So Zelensky this morning came after weeks and weeks of Donald Trump being like, you're a puppet, your comedy ain't shit, your bitch ain't bad, you know, you're a dictator. Yeah, you're woke and trans and DEI, or worse than all of those slurs in the Republican side of the conversation. He said you're a Democrat, right? Which is a liberal, you know, it's like the worst thing you can be. So he kept saying all that, but then Zelensky, of course, after Donald Trump met with all the European leaders and Modi, turned around and came to sign this mineral deal that he initially said he wasn't going to sign. The same mineral deal, from what I understand, the Biden administration was trying to get him to sign to begin with, but more quietly, and because, you know, they're just that good at doing foreign policy.
A real player moves in silence.
Exactly. And he was ready to sign this deal, but I think in the process, like, JD Vance goaded him. Like, I mean, he just sat there and had to take, like, Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend, the really drunk looking guy who just looks like he has insanely high blood pressure. You know what I'm talking about? From OAN. I think he's on Newsmax or OAN, whatever his name is. But he was like, why don't you wear a suit ever? Which is a question that's on everyone's mind, certainly, but like time and place, right? And he had to basically sit there and eat it from not just like the peanut gallery, but from a guy who's a commentator on Right Side Broadcasting Network. It's like having an Epoch Times guy shit on you, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I love that. I've encountered them many times. That they're like I don't even know if they're a news network. Aren't they just like a live stream thing? That's
it's like me being in the room for Joe Biden.
Yeah, I will say that the Republicans always fixate on Zelensky wearing a suit, and the reality is Zelensky is diminutive, right? Like, he's short. He's like 5'2". Lilliputian, well, the guys from Gulliver's. The little men. Mm-hmm. And if you wear a suit and you're short, you really run the risk of looking like a child. And so I actually understand the choice not to do that. I think it's a tough one, and I think he made the right one in wearing his little uniformy kind of thing.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. You know, I mean, that's the thing is a lot's gone down in the past couple months that has given me a bit of a raised eyebrow. And I was expecting this to like end in some crazy fucked up mineral deal that Ukraine signs, and we get like all their rare earth minerals, which I wasn't even aware that they really had that many.
Yeah.
And I mean, who knows?
I don't. The only thing I've seen is like some USSR mineral maps that they've had that they've retained seemingly.
Amazing. But now it looks like Zelensky left the White House in a huff, or was unceremoniously kicked out.
No, he was kicked out.
And so, dude, you don't want to get kicked out of the White House.
No.
That's tough.
No, you don't. So the question remains for me is, and there's a lot of people who are very mad at me because I said, what did I? Hold on. Let me see if I can find this and pull up this tweet. But a lot of liberals are always mad at me about
Russia
Ukraine.
wins the war. Sorry, what did you say?
That's okay. That was in private that I told you. Okay, and you agreed, and you were like, yes, Russia
I didn't
is
know which
based.
one you were talking about.
Yeah, you were like, Russia is based. We are saddened by the tactical retreat that the brave Russian soldiers had to make. They needed that warm water port in Syria, you know. Anyway, but yeah, I said there's literally nothing Zelensky can do that will stop Trump and his admin from humiliating him. Obviously, our proxies are always powerless in these circumstances, but the decorum is totally broken. No care for diplomacy, the end of American soft power. And I think that's what's going on in general with like, you know, gutting the U.S. aid and basically, or trying to centralize under the State Department as though they were like acting as a cutout for like Democratic Party NGOs or something. I think they like greatly misunderstand what USAID was doing.
Yes, I agree with that.
And also simultaneously, I think like they're just moving in the direction of no more carrot, just stick. Except for Israel, obviously, but Israel is more so an extension of the United States, so we don't talk about that as different. But this person calling Ukraine a proxy is insane, dude. So what do you think about all of this with your understanding of the situation?
I think from what I can gather, I mean, I don't really know how many cards Ukraine has without the U.S. to paraphrase Trump there. I mean, there is a real question of like what the fuck they're going to do if America cuts off arms, because the European arms industry is not caught up yet. That's like a decades long fucking thing they got to do. And yeah, the reality is like they function in this sense as a proxy. I don't think that's really that controversial of a thing to say. I mean, it's not even like a moral judgment or anything like that. Like they're fighting this war with like American support, targeting troops on the ground, some reported, some not. Huge amounts, hundreds of billions of dollars. And yes, a lot of that money is spent on U.S. weapons, which is a fucking racket. But I don't really know how else to read that. I mean, they could not win this war, or this war would almost certainly be over in some way or another if the U.S. had not gotten involved to the extent that it did. I mean, it seems. I wasn't even aware that was really a controversial thing to say outside of like, you know, Ukrainian nationalist circles or anything like that.
No, liberals outflank Ukrainian nationals in many respects on this issue. So, especially because like they don't really lose anything in terms of just, you know, throwing up the flag. But I don't know. Maybe this is just a misunderstanding. But the reason why I brought this up is not to like go over petty grievances with like the account called Polling USA. The reason why I brought it up is because I want you to speculate on like what you think Zelensky has in his pocket. Like what, because I did genuinely think that he would play ball and maybe even grovel further on Bret Baier. And earlier, and I know you were watching this as well, he did not do that. Bret Baier actually baited him multiple times to be like, well, you're not actually, doing that. You're not actually apologizing to Donald Trump. And he instead delivered what I consider to be a relatively heartfelt and somewhat sincere plea to the American population, and specifically Donald Trump's base of support. And I don't know why he thought that. Is it foolishness? Does he think that like Americans give a shit? Does he think that like MAGA can listen to reason? Does he know something that we don't know? Or is Macron actually going to use nuclear first strike capabilities against Russia if Russia further undermines Ukrainian sovereignty? Like, what does he know?
I mean, it's funny. If he thinks that like he'll sway a majority of the MAGA movement or even like a significant minority, I think he is out of his fucking mind, because they hate his ass.
They do. I mean, they're like, he's gay. He's doing trans stuff in Ukraine.
Like they don't even like. I think it's hard maybe for like a non-American to understand like how a lot of MAGA types kind of like they have like shibboleths or like images that they just like have these insane sort of like mythos or stories around, and like Zelensky is absolutely one of the main ones. I mean, it's like he's this he's sort of like I guess, like what when people think of like wasteful foreign aid or like Democrats stealing money or like Hunter Biden or anything like that, when MAGA people think of that stuff, it kind of all comes down and funnels down to Zelensky himself.
Yeah.
And he is not a sympathetic figure to a lot of Republicans. Maybe some like GOP conservative types. And it's so funny because like
Lindsey Graham.
Yeah, exactly. But Lindsey Graham flipped.
Yeah, and he dropped him. He dropped him like a bad habit after basically goading him for years and years and being like, it's great that all Ukrainians are dying dying using our older weaponry that we shipped over there.
Yes. I mean, and it's just whatever. Maybe Zelensky, if you have the tapes of Lindsey Graham and 16-year-old boys in Northern Virginia hotel rooms, to release them now. I do think that what you said earlier about like soft power sort of like going out the window. I think that's like it's like kind of true about like everything about the new Trump regime is that in that like a lot of what they're doing, like the sort of looting, like the cutting away the regulations with doggy and all of the like foreign policies, sort of like tough guy shit. It really is just like a way of doing what the U.S. has done for a long time without any of the without any of the bullshit, like
¿En serio?
kind of getting down to business here in a way that would like
¿Pero quién te prometió eso?
maybe like 5-10 years
Ay, no.
do because they have to funnel this, do this, and then do this, and get this guy elected and do this.
Bueno, explícame cómo es el plan.
Right? Like, that's the reason why you have to manufacture consent. Like, you have to...
No!
You have to do that try and maintain this
¿Cómo es el plan? A ver,
idea
contá.
around the world that America is like sometimes doing bad
Estoy jugando al
things,
autito.
but like they're doing it for a greater good because America is the world
Hoy,
police. And
el presidente de Ucrania se juntó con el presidente de Estados Unidos
right
y se
after
pelearon.
Ukraine, because like Israel and Ukraine happening so
Se
close to
dijeron,
one another, like
no me faltes el
really
respeto, nene.
showed the
El otro
moral
le dijo,
gravity to even people in
No estoy
Western Europe
faltando
that
el
were
respeto,
previously
nene.
in my
Solamente
opinion,
digo que me
oblivious
escuches.
to it for
No me faltes al respeto a
strategically
mí y a mi
ambiguous to
país.
it.
Yes.
And
yeah.
and now it's
A ver cómo entra.
obvious that like nobody gives a shit about the international rule-based order. That's not a real thing. But having said that, I still didn't think Trump would dismantle that soft power apparatus so quickly.
Yeah, it's funny because I was like, maybe they'll use it like, like Germany.
Y
They
después
give money to political parties. They have these overseas offices. And so, like, AFD, for instance, like, has offices in other countries. They do. But, like, the Conservative Party, the Social Democrats do.
Yo lo guío.
And
¿Ves
I was
caminando?
like, okay, well, maybe they'll use this in
está de
like, a
cerca.
based way. And they'll just, like,
¿Qué se puede hacer ahí? Porque yo no me quiero
like,
aburrir.
use soft power.
No,
as, like,
hay
muscle
ese
behind
gimnasio en
whatever,
donde
you know,
pueden jugar
Orban,
los
like,
volantes. Y encima es
but,
muy
I mean,
divertido.
again, it's been like a month and a half, so who knows, 2 months.
bueno.
No. Like,
Y también hay un lago que te
actually,
puedes hacer picnic.
but
Hay
that
un
can still
lago.
happen. It's just,
Y
it
puedes ver
seems
peces
like,
y cangrejos. Que
I don't know, everything's still so
¡Cangrejos!
all like the
¡Qué
cuts and like,
mentiroso!
¿En serio?
like,
Nunca vi cangrejo ahí.
that, like, I actually have no idea. There's so
Un
much
día, casi
shit
cuando era
that, like,
verano,
I have
vimos
no idea what
cangrejos.
they'll retain. And, like,
¡Mentira!
could be
Ah, tenés
thing
razón.
of like strip it all away
Ah,
and
tenés
then put stuff
razón.
back that you think you actually
Son un
turns
asco.
out that you need and that
Son
can
negros.
come in there. It's funny though because like
Dale,
again we
vamos.
come back to this like
Ay, no quiero
you
ir
know
ahora que sí hay cangrejo.
Ukraine would be like
Bueno, entonces no vamos,
cause
solo vamos al
left
lago.
or whatever among
Vamos al parque, vamos al
Republicans
parque.
30 years ago, 40 years
Yeah.
ago, you know? I mean,
Vamos,
we would have
dale.
like
Pero ahora ya.
Sí.
these all guys would be like
¿Por qué ya?
beaches at Congress.
¿Cuál apuro?
and,
Bueno, dale,
have visited
te
Congress.
cambias,
It's been
voy
on
al
the
baño
beaches of the
y
liberals.
listo.
Dale.
And so
Dale,
it's
vamos,
so funny to
cállate.
see all this shit. I mean, that's talk about a
Bueno.
realignment. You know,
Dale.
it's sort of amazing. And it's funny because I think a lot of Democrats kind of
Ay, qué
into it
lástima.
because now it's almost seen as like
pensé que
an
iba a
act
tener
of
libre.
resistance against the
No, hicimos lo que
nationalist
siempre comen.
GOP to
Yo
just,
pensaba que tenía
you know,
libre.
doing as
Dale,
much
vamos.
porn entanglement as possible.
Yeah.
And, you know, part of
Cambiate.
this also could just be like pivot to China stuff. But
Cambiate.
then also, that's all
Bueno, pero me va a prometer que yo voy a ser mejor que el
Well,
guaso.
that's what I think. Like the Vivek Ramaswamy
también
foreign policy.
Bueno, vamos los dos.
That Tucker
Pero
Carlson,
tenés que evaluar quién se porta mejor.
few Redditors were talking about before the Trump
Porque
administration.
todavía estamos en la prueba.
decoupling Russia from
Faltan 8
China
pruebas.
and
No,
then
faltan 10.
focusing all of our efforts on going to war with China. Is
¡Ah! Son 10 pruebas.
really what this administration is.
Abusadora, abusadora, abusadora.
I'm not saying that this will be successful. I just think that is kind
No
of
son mi reina.
the direction that they're taking. It seems.
¿Qué? Bueno, estaba convenciendo al lobito que venga al parque. Yo terminé, voy al baño.
¿Me tengo que cambiar?
Sí.
¿Pero por qué no hacemos 2 pruebas nomás?
No.
¿Tu chaqueta rosa?
No sé.
Es que... Eres una abusadora.
Me mató.